We will go ahead and begin with an opening statement from Chris. So Chris, the mic is yours.
Great, thanks Jake. Good afternoon, everyone. As Jake said, we're here to announce a coaching change. I just wanted to start by saying thanks to Matias Almeida and the rest of his staff. They've worked tirelessly since their time here, and really put forth a really great effort every single day in training and games. But as we know, this is a result-oriented business, and we're not getting the results that everyone wants. And so the new coaching search will begin immediately. And we also, in the interim, have a very good plan in place that we feel good about, ready to compete for tomorrow's game and well beyond. So thanks again. Happy to take your questions.
Thank you very much, Chris. Let's go ahead and jump right into the question and answer portion with Jeff Carlisle.
Thanks, Jake. Hi, Chris. I guess I kind of a two-parter. First of all, how interim is this staff? I mean, are they going to be in place for the rest of the season? Is it possible a new coach could be hired and brought in to finish it out? And also, my second question, why persist with Matias for this long? I mean, even in February, he was making some noises about leaving. He could leave any time. I mean, why continue down that path?
Sure. Your first part of your question, how long for the interim staff? What I would say is, we are going to do a search immediately right now to find our next head coach and staff. Like I said, I do feel really good about this interim staff that's in place with Alex and Luciano and Steve and Chris, a really good mix of experience. So they're going to have a great opportunity to show what they can do with this team, in the short term. So I don't know how long these things or this is going to take, but obviously we're going to be starting right now. As far as why did it take so long with Matias, look, I think, we haven't had the results in the past years that the club wanted, right? And so I know from my perspective, I was really focused on trying to improve the quality of the roster to give Matias some different tools at his disposal, with the hope that this year would be maybe different than years past. And I think, like I say, from both perspectives, Matias and the staff as well as our club, we felt like, those results weren't coming.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Chris. Let's go to Tom Bogert.
Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Chris, for taking the time. I kind of want to piggyback off what Jeff said there, just in the general sense of timing. He kind of asked as well that, there were some, I guess there was some noise, I guess, as Matias was giving interviews about his future in the offseason. It seemed like there was kind of a rocky start there, but I guess take me through the last week or so, or however this kind of progressed from a possibility to we need to sort kind of, a departure here.
Yeah, what I would say to that is, we've had ongoing discussions, and for sure this past week, and I think that culminated in just both parties realizing that this is the best for everyone. So without getting into all of the details of what happened when and who said this and that, I think, the most important part is just that. I think, Matias and his staff, as well as our club, we realized that we both endeavor to have better results than what we've shown, not only this year, but in years past.
And just a quick follow-up, if I may, just then.
Sure.
What were these talks like in the winter then? Was there, the assumption or the hope that this was going to last the whole year and perhaps beyond, or were these kind of cracks apparent as they seem to be just based on public comment?
Yeah, look, I'd say, us parting ways happened amicably, honestly, and with the utmost professionalism from, I think, both sides. And yeah, the hope was, even in the off season, that we would enter into the 2022 season with some fresh faces, a new roster, and our results would be different than what they are, with the hope that there'd be possibilities to, extend or have a different perspective with Matias.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Chris. Next, Alex Morgan.
Hi, Hi, Chris. Thanks for joining us today. I'm wondering what some priorities are or qualities that you're looking for in candidates for the next head coach, and to what extent you have been, preparing for a possible transition and preparing for a change and gathering together a short list over the last few months and few weeks.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate, the intent was to put all our efforts into this staff with an improved roster. So that answers kind of the second part of your question. And I think to the first part, as far as what I'm looking for in a new head coach, I would say a couple things are really important. I will prioritize the MLS experience part of it. We're looking for a club-centric staff and head coach, those with a high tactical acumen and flexibility, and someone that's a leader, a good cultural builder, because honestly, this club deserves and needs to win. We haven't been successful in the more recent years. This is a winning club that's lifted multiple trophies. That's where we want to get back to.
Thank you. Let's go next to Carlos Eustace.
Hello, Chris. First, is there at this point any short list of names that you might be looking at to take that a full-time position as coach? And the second part will be, in terms of improving the roster, you obviously know that this roster can give you more, but there's always a way to optimize it. Are you comfortable where you are right now? Is also something that you will look at improving during the summer?
Yeah, so I don't want to, nor am I going to, in the weeks coming, speak to specific potential candidates for the head coaching job. And to the second part of your question, yes, of course, I do think there is a lot of quality in this on this roster, in this locker room. I'm saying that very honestly, but also answer it like I've answered in the past. I don't think you ever stop looking at ways to improve a roster. I don't know what head coach or general manager will just say, "Yep, okay, this team's done. I'm not gonna try to improve it." So we're constantly, thinking about ways to, improve the quality that we have in the room. But that does not mean that there isn't a lot of confidence in the group of men that we have, on the team right now.
Sorry, but just to be clear, you on your own have already a list that you might be looking at, right? You don't have to tell us obviously the names or any of the particulars, but you're already putting together a list of who you think are those candidates.
Carlos, what I would say is I've been around Major League Soccer for well over a couple decades, so of course I know some really good coaches. But I think we're also going to honor what a coaching search should be, and make sure that we are looking at a lot of diverse backgrounds, coaches from many different experiences. I think that's the way that you make the right selection. We're not trying to make a fast next coach hire. We're trying to make the right next coach hire. And so if that takes, a couple months, so be it. If we need more time, I'm willing to take as much time as needed to make sure that this club has the right candidate picked.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you. Let's go to Jamin Moore.
Hey, Chris. Thank you for taking the time and the question. So your predecessor hired Matthias, thinking that he would be bringing a style and a tactical approach that would last, for the club and make the club a bit distinctive in Major League Soccer. But you're also turning to a guy here who has done that same thing, but for your academy and now for your second team. How much are you looking for this to become the style that you would go forward with, along with the selection of the head coach? And how much will the head coach, are you looking for them to bring kind of their own experiences and their own style to the organization? Thank you.
It's a great question. Look, I'm very familiar with Alex Cavillo and Luciano Fusco, as well as, I do feel we have a lot of talented staff in our academy, and I do think we play a specific a game model or style of play. So I do think you'll see a different tactics being applied, in very very short order with our current group, with our first team. The way that we play in the academy, I think, is the best for development. That doesn't always necessarily mean that's best for the first team moving forward, because as you all know from the first team perspective, we need results. And so can we play very attractive soccer, like I believe Alex has been playing with our second team and below, while also getting results? That answer is yes. I'll also say any coach that's going to come in is going to have his own ideas on the game and how to play. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's not club-centric as well. I think for me, club-centric means that you're open to thinking about the game in a multitude of different ways, including parts of a game model that the club has living and breathing currently within their own walls. And so that's what I would say about Alex and my comfort level with how he plays, as well as the expectations for possible new coaches that would come in.
Thank you, Chris. We're just going to take a few more here, starting with Jonathan Siegel.
Hey, Chris, this is Jonathan Siegel from MLSoccer.com. I wanted to ask you about the intersection of Matthias's time, the to-be-determined head coach, and your role in light of the roster build. At times, it seemed like, of course, a big part of the recruitment strategy was players who had played under Matthias at previous clubs. What do you envision the future of kind of the roster looking like? And how, if at all, might the next coach influence that? Because it seemed like it was a big topic of this team for the last few years.
Sure. Yes, I think there was a big influence that Matthias had in the roster in the subsequent years. I'd say the intersection, between the time when I came into the general manager position, obviously when you're laying out your plan, that includes, multiple things. One such is we wanted to get younger. We wanted to have some objective decision making, or some data play a key role in that as well. And we also wanted to explore domestic or Major League Soccer experienced players a little bit more as well. So those are some of the things you've already seen in this roster build. You'll continue to see, more of that for sure. I'd say with any head coach, as part of the process of picking players, I view that as an integral part of the process. Even with Matthias, who signed off on the players that we have, or not signed off, but he had his own opinion of those players as well, and agreed with these players as they would come in. And I'd like to think that our future coach will also have good input into all roster selection as well. They will be a part of the process.
Thank you, Chris. We're going to take two more questions, starting with David Espinosa.
Thank you. Hi, Chris. It's David Espinosa of Fox Sports Mexico. We are live for Fox Sports Radio. Do you know something about Matias' future, or did he tell you something? Do you have information that he probably has already something agreed with a Mexican team? Thank you.
Hi, David. No, I do not. Myself and the rest of our club wish him all of the best in his future endeavors. Anytime someone comes in and gives as much as Matthias and his staff did, you have nothing but good wishes to their next move. But no, we have not discussed what his next move could potentially be. I would imagine there'd be a number of clubs interested in talking to him about their future openings.
Thank you, Chris. We're going to take one final question from Robert Jonas.
Thank you, Chris. You mentioned your MLS experience, and that includes well over a decade with the Earthquakes in a various number of roles. And so you're very familiar with this organization, both on the business side and on the sporting side. You've seen coaches come through, interim coaches like Mark Watson become permanent, outside coaches like Nico Stare, and then swinging for the fences with Mateus Almeida. How did the experiences and the results that came from these different coaching staffs How will they inform your plans and the way you consider the candidates moving forward? You spoke a little bit about MLS experience being one of those qualities, but what are some of the various qualities you want to see based on the experience you've seen, what can and cannot be successful in San Jose?
Sure. I think, I'll just explain. I mean, I'll maybe expand on what I said a little bit earlier, but I think MLS experience is important. This league is very unique compared to other leagues. You have very distinct seasons. Your traveling it can be a monster. Roster size, salary cap, competition rules and regulations, multiple competitions. So there's a myriad of reasons on why MLS experience and understanding of this league and having intimate knowledge of it gives you a competitive advantage, in my opinion, Robert. So that's why I say the MLS experience I like. And then within that part of it, I also mentioned, good tactical acumen and flexibility, because I do think, whether it's on the road or at home or in certain game moments or times of, the season or certain parts of how you're transitioning your roster, a coach may need to tweak or play in maybe, slightly different ways. And so a coach that has the ability to do that, I think, gives a club the ability to have the best chance from week to week, understanding some of the variability. I mentioned club-centric. I think that's just a really important part that, coach understands within the ecosystem of a club. For example, we endeavor to bring some young players up in order to develop some young players. The coach has to understand and believe in some of the club's philosophies. As well as leveraging, our support staff as well. I think we have some really good people that work, in this club, and I'd like to see those talents leveraged to the fullest, extent. And I think leadership, culture builder, right? Part of leadership is being able to galvanize our fans and our community to, not point fingers, at what we maybe don't have, but really celebrate the progress that we are making and make sure that, our fans feel really good about, the leadership, and the culture that we have in the club. And so, I know I kind of touched on that earlier, Robert, but hopefully that answers, more your question.